Hello everyone, Adam here from DNF1. I thought I'd put out a quick video or a podcast, depending on whichever medium that you are listening to this on, just to explain what has been going on, where have we been, and more importantly, why have there been no podcast episodes uploaded in the last month or so? Or if you're watching this on YouTube, I think you probably have to go as far back as Miami or Japan, something like that, to find the last YouTube video that we did. So it's been a long time. First things first, of course, I want to thank everybody that has sent messages to us on social media or emailed us just to ask if we're okay, what's going on with the pod, etc. And I apologize to those of you that we haven't responded to yet. To be honest, we've tried not to really respond to anybody, purely because we thought it'd be better to do it this way and talk about what's been going on. So there's no real easy way to say this, but in terms of what's going on with DNF1, the podcast is for the foreseeable future going to be on hiatus. We're not going to be making any more videos. We're not going to be making any more podcasts. Unfortunately, DNF1, we're not going to be continuing with that. Now, first things first, I want to apologize to those of you that really enjoy our content, listen to all of our episodes, watch all of our videos. I'm really, really sorry that we're not going to be able to make any more content for you. Does this mean that the podcast is over, that DNF1 will cease to exist, or that we won't be coming back? The truth is, I don't know. I can't tell you today if we're going to be back in a year's time or 6 months or a few years. I don't know. It's certainly not the end. This isn't me making a video or a podcast telling you that that's it, we're done, we're not making any more content anymore, we have decided to retire as podcasters. We're not doing that. But I can't tell you at this point if and when we will be coming back. It's just as likely that perhaps in a year or two time, we just don't decide we're not going to do this at all, as it would be for us to say, yes, we're coming back, we're making F1 content again, we're rebooting the podcast, if you like. So that is kind of the headline. For the time being, we're not going to be making any more content from this point onwards. In terms of why that has happened and why it's taken me nearly 6 weeks to let you guys know what's happening, the truth is with that, I want to say it was a spur of the moment decision, but this has been something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. I think probably 6 months ago or 7 months ago, after Christmas, I thought to myself, do I really want to keep doing this? Things are just really busy at the moment, but I was determined to stick at it. Obviously, we changed the format so that it was much more engagement from you guys, and that we were talking about the questions that you were giving to us based on what your thoughts were on the race, and we kind of blended that into our analysis of that race, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. And we were doing more episodes as well. I think we were doing like 2 a week. So, and that's on non-race weekends. I think for race weekends, we almost had 3 or 4. So there was a lot of podcasts going out. And for the most, you guys were really enjoying it. And that was good stuff. However, I'll be brutally honest with you. I just felt that for a while, we were just going through the motions. It was quite hard to make content as well. I'll be honest with you. There was so much time that we put into making the content, producing the episodes, recording, coming up with ideas for episodes and putting it all together. I think a lot of people that do podcasting, they do run into this issue as well. So it's not just us saying, oh, it's too hard, we haven't got the time to do it. But for me personally, in my personal life, there's a lot that's been going on. Now, I won't divulge into any of that because I don't really want to. And I know you guys don't really want to hear me go on about how tough things are in life. But, everyone's got problems, of course. But it just became very apparent very quickly that doing the podcast to the level we wanted to do it at and to the frequency that we were doing it was just becoming very, very tough, if not impossible. it's a big part as to why it's taken me almost 6 weeks to make this particular video or pod for you guys, to just explain what has been going on. We've just completely disappeared. And, I apologize that we've not been able to do this sooner. For me personally, as I said, life's been really busy at the moment. Got a wedding coming up, my wedding coming up at the end of the year, which I'm really looking forward to. And obviously a lot of time and effort has been put into that, mostly by my fiance, but of course I've got to try and help out where I can. Obviously, I'm not a full-time podcaster. I do this on the side as a bit of a side hustle or a passion project. So my full-time career is quite intense at the moment. There's a lot going on there that I need to allocate my time and efforts towards. I would love to be a full-time podcaster, but that's easier said than done. Anyone who's done podcasting that's had the same goal will certainly agree with me, whether they've achieved that or not. I'm also studying as well to be a chartered accountant, and anyone who's done that will know that that takes a lot of time and effort, and that's really, really hard and intense. So, add that on top of everything else that's been going on. I just felt, and I've spoken with Lee and Courtney on this, and they agree with me, fortunately, and they've been really supportive in this. I've not been able to do my absolute most in making the show what I hoped it would be and what I wanted it to be this year. I set myself a goal that I was going to raise the level of this show, and we were going to do everything that we could to make this as good as it can be and make it the best show possible for you guys. I'd like to think to some degree that we were achieving that, but I wanted to grow the community. I wanted to expand the audience. I wanted to do something different that really separated us from the competition and from other great F1 podcasters out there. And it just became apparent that unfortunately we weren't really able to do that. We weren't able to allocate the time and resource that we wanted to make that happen. So it is with a heavy heart that I've had to take a step back, and we're not going to be able to produce any more content for the foreseeable future. When we come back, I don't know when that will be, if we ever come back at all. So that's kind of pretty much all I wanted to say, guys. Again, I'm really, really sorry to those of you that have missed us and have missed what we do. We've certainly missed engaging with you guys and missed talking about Formula One for you guys. It's the greatest sport in the world. I absolutely love it. I have enjoyed being a fan again, rather than just being a content creator and a fan as well. Like, it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to separate the two. There is a real skill behind being able to blend those. It really is. So it's been nice to sit back and watch what's been going on. In a way, it's quite funny because I think when we left it was the Monaco Grand Prix that Charles Leclerc won his home race. So much has happened since then. Obviously, with drivers moving to other teams. Obviously, there's the stuff going on between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, which in a way, I'm kind of glad we avoid talking about that, because that's a rather contentious subject, and what has been going on elsewhere. So it looks like it's shaping up to be a great F1 season. So I am really looking forward to enjoying the rest of that as a fan, just like everyone else. I am going to miss doing this as a podcaster, I'm not going to lie. So, what a great time to decide to step back and let everyone else get involved. But before I sign off, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has been a part of this show, whether you've been a guest on this show or one of the hosts we've had so many great guests on. I'm not going to list through the names. They know who they are that have been on this show. And we have interviewed journalists. We have interviewed content creators. We've interviewed people that work in Formula One. The only thing we never managed was an actual driver. But who knows? Maybe one day I might get lucky and we might be able to talk to someone if we come back in the future. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. So I just want to thank every single one of you that have been on this show, everyone that's been a friend of the show, and more importantly, more than anything else, anybody that has listened to a minute of this pod or every single episode that we have ever done and actively engaged with us, whether they've given their opinion on something, whether you like it or not. I know we got a lot of people tagging us with the old British bias stuff. They didn't like it because we didn't say something nice about Max Verstappen, for example, or another driver that isn't British. You know how it goes. But I just want to say thank you all for listening to the show and being a part of it. It's crazy. When we first started doing this about 4.5 years ago, I remember myself and Courtney, we were in my old apartment in Greenwich, and we were just sitting in the living room. We had notepads out about what to talk about. We had one microphone in the room which picked up all of the echoes and all of the reverb and everything else onto the mic. So I think you could hear my flatmate trying to open his cupboard door to get something from there. I think that's how good the microphone is picking up all the audio, but not necessarily blocking out that background noise, just so you can get me and Courtney. It was go back and listen to it. It's still there. The very first episode. You'll probably listen out for it. It's probably there. And I feel like we've come a long way in that regard. So, it does suck a little bit that we are going to have to stop for the time being, if not indefinitely. But yeah, I don't want to mince words anymore. I just wanted to thank every single one of you for being a part of this. I will miss doing this. I will miss engaging with you guys. I will miss talking about Formula One as a podcaster for you guys. I hope that this isn't too much of a disappointment for some of you. I don't want to get big-headed here and say, oh my God, this is like the end of the world or anything like that, because we're not doing the pod anymore. There are so many great podcasts out there. You've got obviously P1 with Matt and Tommy. Those guys are unbelievably good at what they do. WTF1, Missed Apex, love those guys. It's one of my favorite podcasts out there. The Missed Apex guys, really, really funny stuff. Red Flags podcast, Pondering Papaya. If you're a McLaren fan, I know I've been on that show a few times, but really good stuff on there. Grid Talk, another really good one. Pit Stop, of course. I can't forget those guys. I love that. Love those guys. There's so many great pods out there, and I apologize if you have a different F1 pod and I haven't mentioned you and I've completely forgotten you. I'm really, really sorry. Scuderia F1 podcast. There's another one, Mark Daly. Can't forget my guys out there in Canada. Yeah, so many great pods out there. I'll be listening to them all day. But my point being is that there are so many great F1 podcasts out there. So, as I said, we're not leaving a void by any stretch of the imagination. It will be forgotten very, very quickly, I'd imagine. So please do check out those podcasts. If you only listen to us, then I really appreciate that. But there are so many great F1 podcasts out there. Some I've recommended, some I haven't. All fantastic stuff. And if I could leave you with one bit of advice before I finish off, I suppose it's to say that if you, like me, a few years back, were thinking about doing an F1 podcast or a podcast of anything that you can think of that you're passionate about, do it. Get yourself a microphone. You can get yourself a laptop. You can get £100 for the set, I'm sure. They're not that expensive. Like, you don't have to have one of this quality or a mixer or all the other stuff that I've got, but you can just get a microphone and a laptop and just find a friend that loves F1 or, some great F1 podcasts, a solo podcast. I think Katie Fairman does a really good one. Small Talk, I think she calls it. Just one off the top of my head that I've listened to a few times. Do that, share your passion, get it out there on the internet. I'm sure there'll be loads of people that would love to hear it and engage. And that's kind of the experience that we've had. We had a show that started out with hardly anybody listening to it, and then we ended up with thousands of people tuning into what we do, which is absolutely crazy to think about, that many people actually care about what we have to say about F1. So I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, I'll hope that you're all doing well. Please stay safe in the meantime. And until next time, if there is a next time, we'll see you soon. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the F1 season has in store for us and the future of Formula One. And I'll be watching it like the rest of you guys as a fan. So until then, guys, take care and we'll see you soon one day.